Hey guys, wanted to come to you today and discuss ignition systems, specifically distributors, and the pros and cons of each kind, and not only that, but what situations they work best in. I'm not going to describe every Volkswagen distributor. Obviously, Volkswagen had a lot of different distributor designs over the years, but just the more common ones we see today, especially in the later model vehicle. We're going to start with the SVDA, also known as an 034. This one happens to have an electronic module in it. But we call it SVDA, which stands for single vacuum, got one vacuum port, dual advance, which means it has a vacuum advance and it also has a mechanical advance to it. This is really common whenever you're seeing your early to late 70s Beetles and Type 1 engines. Biggest reason because this was what was paired with the 34 PIC 3 carburetor. And we see this works really well with carburetors that are center mount. So anything that had a carburetor mounted center of the engine, like your factory did, or even if it had even if you have an aftermarket, that vacuum advance portion of it typically is connected. We see most from the factory would have been connected to a ported vacuum, which means that it wouldn't actually have vacuum signal to it until the throttle was slightly opened. So it would have mechanical advance as the rotor spins, engine revs, the advance comes around, but then also it has this vacuum port that is pulling on it to advance it even more. Very important that this be paired with a center mount carburetor. When you try to mount a center mount carburetor with what I'm going to show you next, which is the 009, that's when a lot of people tend to run into a dead spot or a flat spot that they end up having to overjet the carburetor to get past it, those kind of things. So this was a great choice for the center mount carburetor guys. So often we see the classic 009, which you notice is only a mechanical advance, which means the distributor doesn't advance until it sees RPM from the engine. In other words, the engine tends to speed up and then it advances. This setup, for whatever reason, over the years, a lot of people have replaced the previous 034 with the 009 and not always had a good outcome. So we wanted to kind of talk about that for a minute today. This does have a great use, though. It was originally designed in industrial engines that would set at the same RPM all day long, but we found there are some good uses for it, even in your street car. This distributor is a budget-friendly distributor. They can be about the cheapest that you can buy, or you can find them. But the best part about it is it actually works decently well with a dual carb setup. So if you've got dual carburetors where your fuel source isn't so far away from the cylinder heads in the combustion chamber like they are with a center mount carburetor, this actually works really well. The other thing that we like about this is it is very simple. And again, like I said, cost effective. But whenever paired with a center mount carburetor, unfortunately, you're going to probably end up with a pretty nasty dead spot. We see that quite often. Now, then the third option that we see on the market today is the high energy ignition systems. There's several brands. We actually like the pat down Shockwave for a few different reasons, but Pat puts together an entire ignition system that includes the distributor, the clamp, coil, and plug wires. But what we like about this, it is a centrifugal advance or mechanical advance like the 009 was, but it's extremely tunable. And from a guy that works on them all the time, that's a pretty handy feature. This can be used with any carburetor setup that you're running. So if you're running a 28 on your little 1500, this is going to work for you. And if you're running dual 48 IDAs and on your 2387, this distributor is going to work for you. And the reason being is because inside of here, we have adjustability. The 009 does not really have adjustability. To adjust any of the advance curve in this distributor, you have to basically take the whole distributor apart, bend tabs down inside of it, and then put it back together and see if you got it right. This one is much, much easier. Notice the advance springs here. These determine how fast the advance comes in, at what RPM that it advances. So as this rotor spins around, these weights fly out. The speed at which they fly out and the distributor advances is determined by the stiffness of those springs. And the kit comes with heavier springs to slow it down, lighter springs to speed it up. And then also underneath it has a stop. So how far it will advance is based on the little bushing that's underneath that nut. And there's several bushings that come in the kit as well, because every engine needs a different amount of total advance, that needs a different amount of initial advance, and this allows you to custom tune that. The 009 makes that very difficult. Most often what we find is somebody sets their 009 advance 10 or 12 degrees initial timing because they've got a, maybe a hot wheel street motor, but the thing will advance 20 degrees. Next thing you know, you've got 35 degrees advance, maybe a little bit too much, and ends up pinging on the highway or in hot weather. So this situation, this distributor is all around a really good system for just about any vehicle you've got. Obviously, the cost of this one is greater than these previous ones, but once you pair up everything that comes in this kit, it's actually a bargain. Whenever you buy a new 034 SVDA distributor, buy an electronic module in it, which this one has a solid state module. That you buy a high output coil. This one comes with a really high output coil that's a dry coil. It doesn't wear out. And then you buy a really quality set of 8mm plug wires. This one comes with a quality set of 8mm plug wires. You've already spent more money over here than you'll ever spend over here. On top of that, you'll notice on the cap and rotor, this distributor cap has the HEI style male posts. You literally can hear the spark plug wires snap onto the cap. You know when they're on there that they're on there. Same thing on the spark plug end. When they snap on the spark plug, you know they're on there good and tight. They're not going to pop off. And the rotor, much larger rotor, so you don't get spark jump across with this larger cap. But even though it's larger, it still fits every carburetor setup that you can imagine. You got a center mount center mount 40mm or 44mm Weber. It's going to clear it. It's going to clear just about anything you can put under it. So it's really a good all-around system. So if you guys have questions when it comes to what ignition does my motor need, or what works best, or my engine's got a really bad dead spot in it, give us a call. We'd be glad to walk through that with you and kind of explain to you what's going to work best for you and your budget. And then we'll find out maybe what's going wrong and how we can correct it for you. But thanks for watching, and have a great day.